This is a recording. This is a recording of the Executive Board meeting held at St. Joseph's Infirmary Auditorium on November the 6th. A quorum was present. Someone else will come in, so we'll have a quorum. That satisfies everybody. We don't want to keep you too long. We do appreciate those of you who did come out. Shall we bow our heads in a word of prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, we're so thankful that we can be of service to Thee. We're so thankful for this great country of ours, where we can serve Thee as we see fit. Help us tonight as we take up our work, and in everything that we do, may we please Thee. We ask for Jesus' sake. Shall we have the roll call, Ms. Dixon?
Ms. Garland,
Present.
Ms. Bryce, Ms. Ellen Jones, Elizabeth Dixon, Ms. Patsy Atwater, Ms. Nancy Sale, Ms. Margaret Citron, Ms. Manette,
Here.
Sister Infinita,
Here.
Ms. Honeycutt,
Here.
and Ms. Copeland,
Here.
Ms. Hicks, Ms. Pope, Mrs. Robinson,
Here.
and Ms. Davis,
Here.
and Mrs. Clark,
Here.
and Mrs. Hensley,
Here.
Mrs. Armstrong, Mrs. Hilton, Miss Wells, Miss Hale, Mrs. Bernice Dixon, Mrs. Stanley, Mrs. Bond, and Mrs. Nix.
Who's that? Ms. Bryce came in, so this makes our quorum, then. Thank you for making the quorum.
I'm glad.
We will have the reading of the minutes at this time. They have not been circulated and need to be approved. So we'll have our secretary read them.
The Executive Board of the 5th District Georgia State Nurses Association was held on September 25th, 1962 at 7:30 p.m. at Pastor Leon Infirmary. The meeting was for the purpose of setting up committees for the new year. The meeting was called to order by the chairman, Ms. Garland, at 7:40 p.m. Prayer was offered by Ms. Hudson. Roll call, Mrs. Garland, Ms. Bryce, Ms. Dixon, Ms. Atwater, Ms. Armstrong, Mrs. Bond, Mrs. Manette, Mrs. Honeycutt, Ms. Copeland, Ms. Hudson, Ms. Davis, Ms. Wells, Ms. Hale, Mrs. Benning, Representative Mrs. Benning, representing Ms. Stanley for President of Grade Number 2. Appointments made to the Standing Committee's program. Chairman, Ms. Ruth Bryce, Mrs. Virginia McFarland, Mrs. Marty Hendricks Irwin, Mrs. Emily Zertz, Mrs. Ludy Manette. It was moved that this committee would remain the same as of 1962, with the exception of the withdrawal of Miss Ruth Finley, and by changing the name of Miss Marty Hendricks to Mrs. Irwin. Miss Hudson, Miss Davis carried. Printing. Motion made that the committee be requested to serve again for 1963. Miss Davis and Miss Dixon carried. Printing committee, Chairman, Miss Atkins, Elizabeth Dixon, and Miss Ellen Jones. Finance, moved that the committee remain the same. Dixon and Armstrong carried. The Finance Committee, Chairman, Miss Lucy Mace and Miss Patsy Atwater, and Ms. Reba McGorum. Legislation, motion that the committee be retained Ms. Bryce and Ms. Honeycutt. Ms. Honeycutt was reappointed to replace Mrs. Zertz. Chairman, Ms. Hudson, Ms. Corsell, Ms. Mace, Mrs. English, Mrs. Honeycutt, Miss Louise White, Miss Bernice Dixon, and Miss Pat Stewart. Move to amend the motion by adding Miss Pat Stewart instead of Miss Sally Crawford. Dixon and Bryce carried. Membership credentials. Motion to add Miss Jackie Tiller to the committee. Wells and Miss Copeland carried. Then the motion was amended to replace Miss Eva Waters and Miss Rachel Sanders on this committee. And the chairman is Miss Martha Davis, Miss Carolyn Atkins, Miss Genevieve Guerin, Miss Alice Cleveland, Miss Frances Hammock, Miss Margaret Armstrong, Miss Ruth Henley, and Miss Jackie Tiller. Nominations. Chairman, Miss Sally Clark, who is elected, Cynthia Mallory, Mabel Sherlin, Elsie Reeves, Alice Morgan, Sister Mary Brown, and Eva Woodard. Public information. The secretary serves on this committee. Chairman, Miss Carolyn Atkins, Elizabeth Dixon, Elizabeth Langford, Mildred Price, Genevieve Jones, and Charity Wells. Bylaws. Chairman, Miss Frances R., Mary Woody, Nancy Sale, Virginia Copeland, Rachel Sanders, and Catherine Pope. Official publication. Chairman, Charity Wells, Frances Hale, Eula Benning, and Margaret Sitchbaum. Registry. Reappointments. Chairman, Miss Hicks, Virginia McFarland, Piedmont, Maud Tola, St. Joseph's. Appointed were Mrs. Reba McGorham, individual, Marjorie Roberts from Grady number 2, and Hazel Wickman. Special committees. Careers. Chairman, Genevieve Jones, Elsie Fitzgerald, Sarah Helen Kilgore, Betty Black, Louise White, and Elizabeth Malone. Improvement of patient care. Motion that the Committee of the Improvement of Patient Care be deleted. Ms. Hudson, Ms. Honeycutt carried. A&F deleted. Committee was deleted. District succeeded in raising our quota. Committee on Professional Practice. Chairman, Miss Margaret Ford, Madeline Wade, Mildred Price, Louise Vaughn, Margaret Wicker, and Dr. E. Louise Field, if a member. Committee on Insurance. Chairman, Mrs. Ann Tiller. Committee to study the functions of E&A. Chairman, Mrs. Evangeline Lane, Catherine Ransbotham, and Margaret Bodeker. Motion made that the November meeting be planned at the discretion of the program committee. Ms. Wells, Ms. Davis, and carried. Motion that a request be made to the sisters at St. Joseph's Infirmary for the use of their auditorium for the annual and the regular meetings of the district, and if possible for space for the executive board meeting of 1963. Ms. Dixon and Ms. Davis. Motion carried. Move that Mr. James E. Jackson be retained as legal counsel. Ms. Dixon, Ms. Hudson carried. Move that Young and Garber be retained as auditors. Ms. Wells, Ms. Dixon carried. Names suggested for GSNA committees. Headquarters Committee, Ms. Mace. Finance, Ms. Ruth Smith. Legislation, Alice Morgan. Use the same names of the committees for GSNA as those requested to serve on the district committees. Move to adjourn at 9:30 p.m. Elizabeth Dixon, Secretary. I move that these minutes be approved.
There's one little correction there I call attention to is the membership committee. Some were carried over on that last one. Martha Davis is chairman.
Well, I said not today.
I know, but there's others. Jacqueline Tiller, Genevieve Guerin, Miss Alice Cleveland, Frances Hammock, Margaret Armstrong, and Miss Hensley were the ones.
Well, now let's see. I've got Jackie Tiller, and I've got Alice Cleveland, and Francis Hammett. Will you check yours as I call mine?
Mm.
I start at the front. Chairman, Martha Davis, Carolyn Atkins.
I'm not on it,
You're not on it?
no.
How'd I get you?
I was on it
Genevieve,
last year.
Genevieve Garin,
Mm.
Alice Cleveland, Francis Hammett, Margaret Armstrong, Ruth Hensley.
She's not on it.
She's not on it.
You get that?
I have Maxine Hensley.
That's right.
Maxine.
She's on him, Maxine Hensley's on it. Jacqueline Tiller, Alice Cleveland, Margaret Armstrong, and Maxine Hensley, making it 7. And all accepted.
That's 7.
There's some other minor things we read here.
What was that?
On the program committee, I believe you read that Honeycutt was replacing Zerbst. E. Honeycutt replacing Emily Zerbst.
No, that was on,
No.
that was on legislature, wasn't it?
Legislation.
Yeah.
Legislation.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. And,
One thing that was the main, I think this was Hazel Wickham.
Wicker.
Wickham, W-I-C.
Instead of Wickman.
And instead of Wick, man, you have, and it's Wickham.
Which one is that?
Which is that?
The individual representative on the registry committee.
Registry.
Number 9 on the,
It would be a part of it.
1960. Yeah,
And that's Wicker.
No,
W-I-C-K-H-A-M.
Oh,
instead of Wickman, Wickham.
Yeah,
K-H-A-M.
W-I-C-K-H-A-M.
Hazel Wickham.
There's one other too, and that has to do with Dr. Field.
She did not consent to serve on that. She's not gonna be a member at the present time.
Her name was wrong.
Did I misunderstand in careers on the special committees, was that Betty Black or Betty Blake?
Blake.
B-L-A-K-E?
B-L-A-K-E.
Yeah,
That's what I had.
What was the name of the committee to take the place of the improvement of patient care?
The first one, that was
Yeah.
deleted.
Yeah, yeah, but there's another one. Practice,
Committee on
professional practice.
Did we didn't get that one though. Now let's see, on
Matt Lee
legislation.
Wade.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
Margaret Ford was named as chairman, which she did not accept.
Mhm.
And Matthew Reed was next.
Yeah, yeah.
Louise Vaughn.
Oh,
Mhm.
Committee on Professional
Mhm.
Practices, Margaret Ford,
Mhm.
Madeline Wade, and Mildred Price, Louise Vaughn, Margaret Wicker, and Dr. Lois Field,
And,
and she declined.
Margaret Ford declined.
Oh, she did, well, they'll straighten that up. Of course,
Uh-huh.
these are for the minutes, and that'll
Uh-huh.
have to be done at the next meeting.
Are there any other corrections, suggestions?
Did that legislative committee clear up?
We had Emma Hudson, Mabel Corsell, Lucy Mace, Miss Pauline English, Edith Honeycutt, Louise White, Bernice Dixon, and Miss Pat Stewart were the
That's
ones
right.
named at that meeting.
That's right.
That's still.
But don't, she's all right for that, for the minutes, but she declined for the next one.
Pat
That's why
Stewart
you don't have
did.
it on that second report.
Uh-huh.
On that one, she was unable to take it.
Any other suggestions, corrections? Do I hear a motion then that we accept this report as amended, corrected?
I so moved.
Second motion.
Robinson, Honeycutt. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Motion is carried.
Ms. Scotland, may I mention there that the minutes of the regular meeting, what the executive board were circulated, and they ought to be approved too tonight, since they were not read at the special meeting. They were sent out just 2 days after the meeting, on your September board meeting, your regular board meeting. This was your call meeting.
Uh-huh. This was a special meeting,
That's right.
but the September minutes were circulated.
Were circulated immediately after the meeting.
And do we have a motion that these minutes as circulated be approved September? It's too far back to remember.
Madam Chairman, I move that the minutes of the annual meeting be approved separately.
Is there a second?
second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. And this motion is carried.
Who seconded that?
Manette. Right, Manette. You did second that one, didn't you? I don't have any communications at this time, I don't believe, do I, Carol? Do you have a report, Elizabeth?
No, I don't.
And we have a report of the treasurer.
It's in the,
This report of Fifth District for October Treasurer's Report brought forward from September $1,859.95. Total receipts $281.50, making a total of $2,141.45 on deposit. Total disbursements was $973.57, making clear in the bank $1,167.88. Checks out $293.89. Agrees with the bank statement $1,461.77. Obligations to the government for withholding and social security tax is a total of $82.40, and tax to the Georgia state is $1.92. I move that this report be accepted and placed on file.
Is there a second? Any discussion? What was the balance, Elizabeth?
Balance clear in the bank was $1,167.88.
Didn't know we had that much money. Just near the end of the
in
year.
November.
Yeah.
We haven't taken any money in either, have we? Still haven't.
No.
The report for the registry is for September. Income $338.65. Total disbursements $2,187.38. Bank balance September the 30th $10,705.55. Total RNs paid at the end of September the 30th, 1962 was 9. Total RNs part-time paid September the 30th, 1962 was 4. Total PNs paid at the end of September the 30th was 3. And total PNs part-time paid was none. This is Martha E. Carlton, bookkeeper. It's just total, the state, yours.
Is there a motion that the
I move
report
that
of the
this-
registry be accepted, placed on file?
I move this report be accepted, placed on file.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. We have a report from Ms. Atkins, Executive Secretary.
I'm just gonna make it very brief, give you a total of 1,202 members plus 9 associates. We have 1 alumni member to be reported and 2 applications to be approved. The Crawford Long has 93 members, Georgia Baptist 214, Emory 121 with 1 associate. Grady number 1, 82 with 1 associate. Grady number 2 has 84 with the 1 to be reported. Individuals 424, 6 associates. Piedmont 100, and St. Joseph's 104. The office is posted, books up to date, and we're getting ready for the new year. We've been busy.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. We have a report from the program committee, Ms. Bryce.
Yes. We've had one meeting thus far, and I think that's about going to do it for us. We had about a 2-hour session out at my office on October 4th, and everybody was present except Mrs. Ludy Minette, who wasn't able to be there. We have two things that are a little unusual. And the first one is that the committee discussed the problem of, I have a mint in my mouth, please excuse me. The committee discussed the May program, the Nurse Week program. In view of the fact that the program committee, the careers committee, I should say, feels that they have certain things they'd like to do this day, the program committee feels very happy to relinquish this program to the careers committee. In fact, we would recommend that they take it for the purposes that they have in mind. I think that last year the program committee, as chairman, I certainly felt, because I was a little out of touch at the time, not able to be in on the meeting, that I was a little bit of an unnecessary thing that had to sort of work through me. For that reason, we are asking this board to give permission to the careers committee to plan and execute the May program. The November program is almost upon us. It's 2 nights hence, and I hope that all of you are planning to attend the dinner meeting at the Academy of Medicine. We hope that we're going to have a pleasant evening. We have secured Dr. William Shatton and his sons, who will entertain us at a piano concert. And we're going to have a nice dinner, and I hope we'll have a very fine time together. No formal program is planned. We just hope that people enjoy being together and listening to the piano. As for next year, we decided on a clinical emphasis insofar as programs are concerned. Now, this is not a real easy decision to make, because there are people who are not in clinical nursing whose interests are elsewhere. However, we felt that even the people who are not seeing patients anymore still are nurses, and they want to know what's going on. And for that reason, we came up with several suggestions as to programs for the remaining times, 2 of them having been taken care of by the things I've just discussed. In view of the new respiratory aids, the Bird Bennett, all the positive pressure mechanisms and what have you, this is one possibility. We have a person in mind who can do this and do it well. I'd like to back up, if I can, too, and say that we're trying to get nurses, and this is a personal prejudice of the chairman, and I will admit this, but I think that nurses have a lot to give to nurses, and rather than having, we have a lot of things going on that are of merit, and rather than having an anesthesiologist come in, and we would like to have an anesthetist, a nurse anesthetist if possible, rather than have a medical researcher come in, we'd rather have a nursing researcher come in. This is the emphasis this year. We didn't call it we didn't formalize it with a name, but this is the emphasis, clinical emphasis by nurses. Another possible program is the nursing effects of the modern anesthetic agents. It's very different, and we all know this. But how different, maybe we don't know. And so we thought this might be a good topic, the nursing implication due to the modern day anesthetic agents. Another thing, we have a person lined up possibly to speak on the nursing responsibility in a medical research program. This happens to be a metabolic unit. The nursing responsibility is very different. The nursing activities are very different. It might be quite of interest to us to know about this. Another, to give a comparison between clinical nursing in this country, as we know it, and in another area, we have a person who maybe asked, these are suggestions, you understand, to compare nursing in Samoa. She's had quite a long experience there. I understand she does this brilliantly. So this is another possibility. The other, nursing care of patients with chest suction, and this would include underwater seal and some of these other things. None of these, we hope, would be just dry lectures. We would hope to have some demonstrations to come. And I guess that's all I have to say. I don't know if I need to move the adoption of this report or not, but anyway, that's all I did.
It certainly sounds like an interesting program. I feel real concerned that more of our people don't come out to these meetings. I think it sounds so good that I think they're going to make something real
Maybe
special if we can't get them out.
Maybe if we had some publicity or something, maybe that would do it. If more people publicity many times, people just don't know.
I really believe the clinical programs with nurses being active in the programs, if that doesn't do it, nothing will. And I believe if the word gets around, I believe we'll have better response.
I do too.
Because they say that's the reason that the American College of Surgeons Institute for Nurses has been such a success, is because the nurses have been so active in the programs and have contributed an awful lot to the programs. And I think it's wonderful. I just think we should all feel very grateful to Ms. Bryce and her
Yes,
committee for,
good.
Don't forget the committee.
I said, and her
I know you
committee.
I'm glad to see
Suggestion.
this district interested in nursing and not just nurses.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope that as we go back to our groups that we represent here, that we give this all the punch and enthusiasm that we can muster up and try to fill this auditorium, because this sure sounds good, Ms. Bryce.
Thank you. I hope that it will be.
Yeah,
We'll try to be careful of the people that we select.
sounds good. Thank you so much. Ms. Atkins, you have anything in printing?
Well, we've done a good bit of printing. You have 1,000 new, of the amended bylaws. We got those, $30. The ANA told us to hold up on having ours printed for next year. We'd set it up in the budget. So anyone that needs extra copies, we have plenty of them on hand now. And we also have our envelopes printed, getting ready for the new year. We've had also the invitations printed. So, and 1,500 copies of the meter came in yesterday morning. They're in the mail.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Constitution and Bylaws Committee, our chairman that was suggested declined. I wonder if anyone has another suggestion at this time. Mrs. All felt like she could not serve. The people on the committee are Jean Copeland, Nancy Sale, Rachel Sanders, Mary Woody, Catherine Pope. Of course, we could move down to the next person on the list here and draft her.
I wish I could, but I've made some commitments. I feel I couldn't take the chairmanship. We want to stay on since I was on last year.
Any suggestions?
Is Mrs. Sanders chairing the only other committee? I have it down here in my notes someplace.
Rachel Sanders, I don't think so.
She's on the.
She's on another committee, but,
Only one.
I
but,
wonder if she might be approached as chairman. She's a good worker, I know that. That's what this takes.
she's been interested
Well,
in
that Nancy Sales,
Been on that committee a lot too.
Well, that would help.
Well, then, if she would accept, would we need another person on the committee? Take her place. or is, 5 enough?
It says at least 3, so you'd have enough.
Enough. But we can ask Miss Sanders if she'll accept this. Did Miss May send a report on finance
She did not send anything.
and legislation, Miss Hudson? Membership and credentials, Miss Davis.
We have a total of 1,202 members with 9 associates, and only 2 applications for membership cleared.
Thank you.
Could I ask a question, just for my own information? Now, you say you have 2 application requests to be cleared. What do we do as a district as far as, say, someone who applies for membership at this time of the year, say it's almost mid-November, would we accept it for the year 1962, or would we hold it for 63? I'm asking for information, that's all.
May I tell you something about that? One of them gave it to her husband to mail last May. And he's Dr. Ellison, and she still wants it for this year. And it just came in the day we paid it on the 15th. So we have just gotten her reference back, and the other one just made application in November, and she cannot go on the registry until it's cleared. She's one of your Emory nurses, so both of those would have to be.
Well, you know, we have several new people out at Emory, and this place.
Mrs. Hicks is not here. Mrs. Hensley, would you like to give us a report of the registry?
I do have a couple of recommendations from the registry committee. And if you'll bear with me, there's a letter I would like to read which deals with the first motion. This is to Miss Hicks from Ms. Carlton, our bookkeeper at the registry. She says, "Dear Ms. Hicks, I want to discuss the situation that exists in bookkeeping in the hope that something can be worked out to correct it. Working on the books 1 day a week during the latter 8 months has proven adequate in handling every aspect of the work except the vouchers and checks at the end of the month. I wait until the next to the last week of the month to mail out the checks and vouchers for signature because I want to be sure that all accounts are in and checks are drawn for same. I allow 1 week for the checks to return so that I can pay all accounts by the first of the following month. This should be adequate time if each party will promptly sign them and forward them on. I realize that occasionally a situation may arise where this would not be possible. In such a case, I will be happy to do what is necessary to get them back to the office. During the 4 months that I have been keeping the books, I have had to pick up the vouchers and checks 3 times to have them back in the office in time for me to get the accounts paid by the first of the following month. This involves several phone calls to locate the vouchers and checks. 2 months I had to go to Ms. Dixon's office first, then on to Emory to get Miss Atwater for her signatures. This past month, I had to go to Emory to pick up the checks and vouchers from Miss Atwater's office the day she received them. These trips are not made on my day in office. There would not be enough time to complete the bookwork. I feel sure that all parties concerned are interested in the operation of the registry and want it to function efficiently. After having had a full-time bookkeeper during the past years, I realize it takes time for all to adjust to the changes that have to take place as a result of a bookkeeper being in the office only 1 day a week. I hope that all will do their part by cooperating with the present setup. Yours very truly, Martha E. Carlton. And the main thing, really, I think is concerned, we want to pay all of our bills promptly, but one of the main concerns is the payroll. And girls, we all work, we're all interested in payday. When it's payday and we expect our checks that day, we certainly are looking forward to them. So the registry committee discussed this at length and made the following recommendation to the board. that the method of handling of checks and vouchers come before the board for better and quicker returns to the registry, and if necessary, be sent special delivery to avoid payroll being late. Now, Miss Garland or Miss Dixon, either one can, I'm sure, tell the board the procedure that the checks and vouchers go through, the rounds that they make before they go back to the registry and into the hands, the checks fall into the hands of the people who to receive them. But it is a matter of great concern, and we do want our registrars, particularly, if it's their payday, we want their checks there that day. And that was the reason for the recommendation. We thought maybe if the board would discuss the method of the handling of the checks and the vouchers, that maybe we could avoid some of this delay. It
Steve, I
only takes
might
a
bring
few
in
minutes
something
to
that's,
sign off.
might give some light, the board members some light about this thing. Was it last month? The checks, the vouchers were received in, GSNA, one day. And I was called the next to want to know if Miss Atwater had those vouchers. As you know, I was working on convention, and there was no one else working on convention but me. I knew the vouchers were there, but for them to come out in one day and expect them to be signed and in the mail the next day, I believe it's being a little bit unreasonable, because you can't ever tell where Ms. Garland's going to be. She may be out of town. And I certainly can't give any guarantee that I'm going to be in the office the 24 hours after those vouchers are received in GSNA. Now, this is the first time in my knowledge, and I've been in this business since 34. Since 43, that we've ever had any discussion about vouchers.
Well, in this letter.
Now, I talked with Mrs. Carlton the day that I talked with Ms. Hicks, which was the day after those vouchers were on my desk. And I told her that it just was unreasonable to believe that vouchers can clear through the mail that rapidly, because everybody's not in pocket just because it just came through the mail to sign. And more time, you certainly know at the early part of the month that you have payroll to meet for that month. You know who you're going to pay. We make them up in GSNA, and we send them to the president. We send them to the treasurer, to the secretary for signature. And they are in the office for the 15th and for the 31st, or the last of the month. Vouchers are there signed, so that when the time comes, along with lights, water, telephone, all other bills that we know that we have, they are signed. And those go to the president, because, as you know, that Ms. Johnson has a very heavy role in her job in Savannah. And if we don't do it, then we may be waiting there, and we have waited as long as 6 weeks to pay for services that was done over at GSNA, simply because that our state president was busy. She was enrolling students for the year. She was sick, and we were held with no vouchers. Now, I don't think that we have that sort of thing in the 5th District. I'm sure that Mrs. Garland gives those vouchers the very quickest possible attention as she can. I certainly give them my very first attention. But right at that moment, I was up to my eyebrows. I couldn't even see over, because I needed to be first at the academy. I had mimeographing there in the office, and we were working day and night over there in that office to get ready for that convention. And if you don't know what we went through over there, I hope somebody will come around next year. But that's beside the point. The vouchers were on my desk the day before, they were mailed the next day, and when they were received back in the office, I don't know. However, there were no checks in those things, so how the checks got mailed when they were sent to Ms. Atwater, I don't know.
Well, of course, Miss Atwater has to see the vouchers before she signs the check.
But that's holding up the process of signing checks, because the checks and the vouchers could accompany each other.
Well,
And that
I'm
would
just,
save, mailing and certainly save time and processing. Because
well,
if
the
they,
only thing I have
if
is
the
just a
vouchers,
letter from Miss
yeah.
Carlson.
Well,
I
I'm
know
not
nothing
not
about
arguing,
it.
but I want the board to certainly see what, you are asking of people who are busy.
Well, Miss Dixon, what you're saying is that it could speed up, getting the checks out if the vouchers and checks were mailed together.
That's
and
right,
made their
and then
rounds
at the
together.
first of the month, you know that you've got those people up there to pay.
That's right.
You know that you've got your telephone bill, you know that you've got your rent, you know that you're gonna have some, petty cash. And I think $25 is all petty cash that they've asked for, and nobody is quibbling over what is being spent. But if the, bookkeeper would plan her work
Maybe
so
a
as to
week
get
ahead.
these out,
Well, she says she
around the
why
early
she
part of
does
the
it
month,
next to
she
the
would
last
have
one.
these things in her hand weeks before she was needed it. And if it needs it, heavens, you know, in, October that you, November that you're gonna need these for October. What's the difference in her putting them in the mail in October, in November, for December? I don't think anybody has any objections to that. We know that those people are gonna have to be paid. We know we're gonna have to meet those overhead expenses. And as long as they are signed and they are dated, and the check numbers are on it, I don't see that there's any reason to have any problems with
It's
vouchers.
only a matter of procedure
That's
anyway.
right, and it's an
not-
administrative thing, and they have certainly all the leeway in the register
Well,
to
could-
work out their own procedure.
Could she do this? Could she mail the vouchers that have to do with checks, payroll, 2 weeks in advance, say, I mean, a week earlier than she usually does, and then wait and send the others that don't really make any difference?
Well, they never
another
know, they don't like to do it too far ahead of time, because you must remember, we have a full-time, or a registrar that's on call for PRN work.
Mhm.
And they're not always sure just how much, work they're going to have to pay Miss Brandenburg for. And she says here, I wait until the next to the last week of the month. In other words, she gives them a week, which it seems to me should be, adequate time.
Well, now, they go off the meeting, may I say one word? We have it the same thing in the district, and there's no reason. In the first place, I'm gonna show you, you have to make these, treasury reports balance. They must balance. So the way we do it in the office, we make all the checks for the month. Everything our standing accounts on the Addressograph, Miller's, the one salary, the rent, everything that we know of that we've ordered, there's a check made out. Now, we're not going to put how much Miller, how many your dues are. Sometimes I make checks for thousands of dollars. I can't stop for everyone to quibble back and forth to send in reports on dues. Or they may make those checks out on those standing accounts. You've already gotten them already made up. She may go ahead and make her checks exactly for everything she has down here. The telephone bill leaves it blank and fill it in when it comes. That comes on the latter part of the month. Anything that they know they're going to have, and of course if an unusual check comes, well then naturally you're going to wait on it. Now if there's one penny that doesn't match and doesn't balance on this treasury report, I must show you, it took me 2 days to do it, because one time the telephone bill and writing it in the checkbook, I put down 46 cents, $33.46, and it should have been a penny less for 45, and it took me 2 days to find it. So you certainly have the authority to fill in those standing of things that are set up in your budget there. There'd be no reason why she couldn't make all of her checks for 1 month.
Well, I don't think the
And
big
fill out
argument's
by the
actually over the checks, Miss
Uh-huh.
I
Well, I
think
need
that
her
it,
vouchers.
the
Her
vouchers,
vouchers?
getting the vouchers back.
Mail them out on the
to
checks
Miss
and you
Atwater,
have plenty
so
of
she-
time
Well, I
to get
think
them
that it
back
would save a
because
lot of time if, when you send the
Make 'em
vouchers,
out
you
once a
include the
month.
checks, and then when they go to Miss Atwater, and the
Send 'em out on the
treasurer
bill.
gets them, she's got the she's got the vouchers already approved, she's got a
Well, I
signature
don't know
by
how
the,
they do it, I
by
don't know
the
whether the
treasurer.
vouchers go
and
separate,
then
the checks go separate,
It
all I
varies.
know
It
is that
varies.
it's been a problem.
Sometimes
Madam
it's both and sometimes
May
it's
I
separate.
ask
Howard.
this, when these vouchers and checks go to the, different ones to sign, are they, stamped envelope
That's right.
included?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or couldn't they put a special delivery stamp on that
That's what
also
I'm
go
sure.
so they can just drop it back in and it
Well, it
would
wouldn't
be,
be,
wouldn't be necessary?
No.
that's just different, extra.
Madam
Donna,
Wouldn't be-
please explain how the runs they make.
It's delivered to where it's going.
Well, it has varied, the vouchers and the checks coming at the same time. Now, with the district, Ms. Atkins does not send the checks to me and Ms. Dixon. She, sends us the vouchers, we sign those, and send them back to her, and then she, takes those to Patsy and gets the checks.
I don't trust the mail, we
No,
had some
we've
tied
had-
up in squibs
it's-
one time
yeah.
from Ohio.
Uh-huh.
Since then, I make a trip either to Ms. Jones or out to Emory just
Uh-huh.
one day, and I have them
And
all
get
there
it
for
all.
the month of November. If anything unusual comes up, then I mail it to her, and I go by in the morning and pick it up. To
Well,
get it once
that's
a month, that's all
what they
that's
want, the
necessary.
board to
Yeah.
suggest to
Madam
them,
That's the way
an
that's
improved
been
way of
handled.
handling it, that's what
I
they
think
want.
they feel like they have to have the exact number when it comes in on those standing accounts like telephone and bills and things like that. And we have the authority to fill it in, we're bonded, we have to account for every penny, the check has to tally with the voucher. So there's no question about it, and I believe that's what they want, is that authority to do that.
I move that Miss Atkins or Miss Dixon or both meet with the, bookkeeper at the registry and work out some solution that will be, that will work.
Well, I think that's, the registry committee wants advice from this board, but I think the registry committee is capable of handling it. And I believe
Well,
that's the way they would wanna do it.
Well, how about the registry committee chairman and somebody who already is doing this? This is new to this girl at the registry, this is the way that we
Well,
handle
she
ours.
shouldn't have to go on her day off, I mean,
Well,
on a day
certainly
when
not.
she's not working to pick them up.
But then,
That's,
no,
asking too
I
much.
think that the registry committee chairman then, this is not a matter of, the registry committee not being able to handle it. It's just for their suggestions, and I believe that that people who understand these things can talk it out better than those of us who don't understand all these problems. That was the reason for my motion.
Well, these, the salary checks don't vary from month to month, they could be sent out early enough to get back there, couldn't they?
All except Miss Brandenburg.
And she can make the name, and all she has to do is fill in the number. I fill in thousands for members. I get 4 checks a month up until April, the GSNA. And sometimes it's 2,000 and 3,000, depends on how many we're going to, send in to the state. You couldn't wait for every check to dribble in, or for every member to dribble in, or every time you have an addressograph, anything like that. You just have standing checks.
Well, I
And then after
understand
that,
it.
we get just 2, so the check can be made out from Ms. Brandenburg. The amount be filled in by the person when she's ready to present the check. And it can very easily be done.
It's
More
just
of
a
an
matter of talking
administrative
it
thing
out.
there than anything
Well, they
else.
haven't had too much trouble actually getting the checks signed, it's getting the vouchers
just
out
mail
and
those
getting the vouchers signed,
Mail
so
those
Miss
vouchers
Atwater
out
can
no
sign.
later than the 5th, and she'll have them back by the end of the month.
She's not gonna sign them
There's no
without that.
question on that. She can mail them out first if she wants to.
Well,
I'm
Miss-
gonna mail them for 2 months.
Miss Hensley, you don't think it would help if Miss Atkins talked with you?
Well, they
and
could,
with
well,
the-
I don't have anything to do with it,
Well,
she
I
could
think-
talk, they could talk with Miss Hicks
Miss
about
Hicks.
it and, make that, recommend to her that she tell, or I can tell her just to tell Miss Carlton to get the vouchers out sooner, for the regular expenses. But regardless of how early she gets them out, if they're not signed into Miss Atwater in time, Miss Atwater still can't sign the check.
Let me tell you.
Well, I never have heard of this problem before, we've
We've
never
never
had it
had
before.
They should go, the treasurer should go to the offices, rightfully, that's their responsibility. They should go, but they're all busy people, and because we want to make it easy for them, we go to them and get it done.
And it's
And it's just an administrative thing, and I think if Ms. Carlton understood that she'd have no difficulty sending them out first, the vouchers. And if they're in a seminar, or Ms. Atmore goes to Baltimore, or wherever she goes, Boston, I'd even call her catching the plane to go off, to try to see her before she left. I mean, sometimes they do have other plans. It can easily be done. And she'll mail her vouchers the first of the month. She knows what she's going to have. Standing, and then anything unusual, maybe mail later.
Do you think she would understand this? She would
Miss
know that?
Carlton will do whatever the registry
Oh, I
committee
know,
asks
but,
her, she do.
I mean, do you think
But
it
she
makes
didn't
everybody
want
happy?
to, she says here in her letter, I wait until next to the last week of the month to mail out the checks and
She'll have
vouchers
to start early.
for signature, because I want to be sure that all counts are in and checks are drawn for same. I mean, she tells you in the letter why she waits until that week.
You couldn't wait till every bill came in and make our checks without amount like telephone and standing things like that, addressographs, all stationery things. You know where you have your accounts. So the first of the month, she could so easily.
In the last week, you don't have any assurance of the people that you want to,
Y'all want me to
sign those.
withdraw my motion? Nobody's ever seconded it
Second
anyway.
that motion because I thought it was good and I thought it would eliminate, some.
Well, the reason I didn't, I
Right
think what I
there.
did about the motion, the registry committee's been told by this board several times in no uncertain terms that they are responsible for the operation of that registry.
Well, this is just to clear up the
This is
point.
consultation, as I
Just,
see it.
that's right, it's just words.
You don't have to
Just
take
to
that.
clear up any, she is disturbed, that letter says she's disturbed.
Well, she doesn't want to go on a time off to do it, and I don't blame her.
I don't think that's
I don't think she allows enough time for it to circulate for salaries.
How do you feel about this motion?
We
Let's
have a
discuss
second,
it.
we have
Yes.
a second.
And,
We
if
can't,
we don't
act
feel
on
like
it
it's
till we have-
necessary, I'll withdraw it.
Well, it might clarify things in her mind and.
I think
the
it
others
would, I don't
too.
think that the board is trying to run the registry
I
or
would
do
like to
anything
ask
like
you in
that.
making this motion, if you would ask Miss Atwater, who is the treasurer, to go with the, to the office and discuss it with the bookkeeper, because after all, Miss Atwater is the bonded person in the
That's Patsy Atwater.
Patsy Atwater,
Well, then
and I
you
think
want me
that it
to
would be.
amend my motion?
Yes.
All right.
This is, I see it, gives, assurance that the board will be of what assistance they want from the board.
Did you say, could we have the motion?
Yeah, when I
She's
get
gonna
it.
write it.
Well, I think I had a motion before that.
What was
The board,
You had a recommendation, didn't you?
uh,
Let's see, we have a recommendation
do
from
we
the
have to
registry
vote on that
committee.
first?
Yeah.
That's why I want to know, do we have to vote on that before we take up her recommendation?
Would you read that?
In other words, what they want is just advice from the board, really, to tell them what to do. The method of handling of checks and vouchers come before the board for better, quicker returns to the registry, and if necessary, be sent special delivery to avoid payroll being late. In other words, if it actually was an emergency and Miss Atwater for some reason had to special deliver them back, or say Miss Dixon had to special deliver them to Miss Atwater, or you had to special deliver them to Miss Dixon, if for some reason, in an emergency, it had to be done, they could then be sent special delivery. Now, that was the motion, the reason for it.
Well, anybody that's salaried by the Nurses Association or anything, I would say yes, if it had to be carried on their time, but not that secretary that's hired for one day. Or anybody like that,
I don't,
that if it had to be carried special delivery, because that involves somebody's personal time.
Well,
no,
she
this
has
is
to
to the
pay
post
her
office.
To the post
Mail.
office special.
It's to the post office.
Yeah, because then.
Well, you just stated if it had to be
I
carried.
think so too, that's just purely,
That should be-
that's just purely
Oh,
administrative,
that's-
that's not the rest of
Then that
it.
would be delivered between,
Special last month, give
Yeah.
her Jupiter, that's just office
Yeah.
routine, you don't even.
You don't need a
to
motion
file
for
a motion.
special
You can
delivery.
take it.
Well, it was made at the
Yeah.
registry committee, I
Yeah.
presented for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But we did
Back to-
have that motion, so we have to decide what we're gonna do with it. If they don't want to accept it, well, here it is.
Is there a second
Take
to
a
this
vote on her.
motion since it came from the registry committee?
That the method of handling checks and vouchers come before the board for a better and quicker return to the registry, and if necessary, be sent special delivery to avoid payroll being late.
Actually, we are dealing with two recommendations, there are two prongs to this. And certainly the first one, I think we are acting on in this
Well,
motion.
I'll read and finish writing. What I moved was that Miss Atkins or Miss Dixon, what shall I just say, Miss,
Atkins and
Miss,
Atwater.
all right, I'll do that. Miss Atkins, Miss Patsy Atwater, and, the chairman of the register committee meet with, what is this, person's name, this bookkeeper?
Carl.
Miss Carlton at the register to work out some solution to, speed up the
Vouchers.
vouchers and checks. Is that worded good enough?
Well, does that involve all that have to sign the checks, or is it necessary? that they have to-
Well, Miss Patsy Atwater is the bonded person, and Miss Atkins does these things all the time. Miss, the bookkeeper, this is probably a new type of bookkeeping for her, maybe, with vouchers, I don't know. Apparently it is. And,
Well, I mean, is that imposing on Miss Atkins
We'd be delighted
for
to help in
something
any
that
way possible.
we aren't supposed to?
that's what she's
In
here
fact, I've
for.
offered to take the checks and vouchers out there when I was going, with Angela was out of town if they needed them.
Sometimes a willing worker.
We have to do something with this.
Yes, we're going to
Mhm.
dispose of this, so.
Well, do I hear a
Either
second to
accept
this recommendation? Are you making this as a motion?
Well, I was
No, it
told
has
to
to be-
make it as
it's
a
a recommendation.
recommendation to the board, and I
Mhm.
can't withdraw it because I was told to make it.
Mhm.
I have
Well,
no
we're
authority
acting
to
as a-
withdraw.
Hasn't been, well, it's not seconded, it's nothing, you can do that.
I have very mixed feelings about this, I don't think I quite understand, but we are taking action as I interpret on the first part of this. We're trying
you read it again?
to, give it some attention and therefore it's a little bit,
The method of handling of checks and vouchers come before the board for better and quicker returns to the registry, and if necessary, be sent special delivery to avoid payroll being late.
I'll second.
Who moved the approval of that?
Who moved the
Who moved the
approval?
approval?
We haven't had a motion to approve this.
I thought you moved the approval.
No,
And-
she seconded it.
Who moved the
Nobody-
first though? I thought when she read it, she moved the approval.
No, I
Uh-uh.
didn't.
You didn't.
Well, I meant to. I will move the approval of
and I'll
that.
second this so that we can leave the discussion.
Yeah,
That's right, so we can get to the business of
What was your comment, Ms.
It's all right,
Kirchendall?
it straightens itself out. A recommendation needs to be decided.
A motion, made into a motion, but
And she's
Ms.
made it.
Hensley has done this.
It's never been certain.
That's right. Now, is there any further discussion about the first recommendation? Are you ready to vote on this motion? All in favor then, please say aye. Contrary, no.
No. Because we got to take it
Well-
down.
We're just asking, and that motion.
You see, we got the cart for the horses being taken care of.
Well, there were 2 noes and how many ayes? I believe the ayes have it, it's carried. Now, the second recommendation that all personnel at the nurses professional register, well, this is something that be appointed to serve for year 1963.
They have all asked that they be reappointed, and I understand this is the time that we do reappoint them,
That's right.
if we're going to for 1963.
Timmy Six, with the undersigned, now employed at the Nurses Professional Registry, would like to apply for appointment to our respective positions for 1963. Yours very truly, Mrs. Louise Bone, Chief Registrar, 7 to 3, and Rebecca Kellum, 3 to 11, Margaret Brandenberger, Relief, Willina Orton, Relief, Mrs. Martha E. Carlton, Bookkeeper, Ruth Hurd, Registrar, 11 to 7.
Do I hear a motion that these people be appointed to serve for the year 1963?
Yes, I make a motion that we reappoint them in the position they're in.
Second. Any discussion?
Is this necessary that, I understand the reappointment, but is it necessary that they sort of put themselves in this
Every year.
position?
Every year they
They're
have
only
to
hard
do.
for a year at a time.
That's
Well,
right.
I can appreciate this part, you know, the reappointment, but this somehow seems kind of compromising me to have to ask every year for your job over. Does anybody know what I'm trying to say?
I agree with you.
I'm afraid I wouldn't want to make it.
That's right, I
No,
mean,
they
it's
were
very well
not-
still
they
there
were
on
not
one year
my
appointment, but they
They were
should
hard
just
to
be
get,
told,
some of
or they should be asked.
May I say something? We have operated in the past on very, very limited funds,
Mhm.
and we do not always have the amount of money
Mhm.
that we have at the present time. It's just been in the last 2 or 3 years that we've actually had the money to have the registry adequately staffed. And for that reason, they are appointed on a year-to-year basis. We do have some there that will be retired before long. For instance, Miss Kellum is actually old enough to retire. And then too, it's just like their salaries. It's understood that their salaries are subject to actually the number of registrants we have each year. If we fall off in the number of registrants we have and we have less money, then it's understood that their salaries can be cut back. In other words,
Well,
That's the way
that's not my point, Ms.
we have
Hensley.
to
I
operate.
appreciate why they need to be appointed annually. The point that disturbs me is that these women have to ask for their job every year.
well, it's procedure.
It's
I
in the
understand.
bylaws,
So
and
then,
we-
what I'm saying, I guess, is that we ought to look at this procedure